Namaste. Let me begin with the invocation. Om Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Atirajaya Vivekananda Surhaye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. My respectful pranams to the Swamijis who have very kindly invited me to speak on this subject, which is part of the Ramakrishna Math Bagda's efforts to commemorate the 125th anniversary of the founding of the Ramakrishna Mission. The initiative taken by Swamiji in charge there has been a very right initiative in this direction, and he has given a very contemporary subject, a very relevant theme for our discussion this evening. So the subject that we shall be discussing is the role of Ramakrishna Mission in youth empowerment or youth in making the youth develop their personality, and also in inculcating leadership qualities. So this is Swami Atmashraddhananda from Ramakrishna Mission, Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Let's have a very informal approach to this subject. The subject is very relevant because we all, when we live our lives, when we face various situations in our lives, and when we are handling challenges that come to us, we find that what we require is making of the right kind of human beings. There is money, there is material, there are rules, there are processes. All that is wonderful. All has got a place. We need resources, we need money, we need people who are wealth producing, we need right type of material. We also have the right system, which is very much required to do anything. But with all that, if we don't have the right kind of human beings, you will find the best of system will not work well. It will not be effective. It will not be beneficial. Likewise, even if you have a lot of other material things with you, besides money, you have got infrastructure, you have got nice furniture, you have got very well planned buildings, but if there are no human beings, we will find that all that has been not of much use. Way back, 125 years back, Swami Vivekananda, while founding the Ramakrishna Mission, had said this, that the aim of this institution is man making. So we do various types of makings, you see. We have now the Make in India drive or initiative by the government, and it's picking up well. Make in India. So likewise, make in India human beings, the right kind of human beings. So how are the human beings made? How do we create human beings? This was one thing which Swami Vivekananda very much focused on. What a visionary he was. What a, looking into the very depths of things. During his lecture given in Madras, as the Chennai was known in those days, way back in 1897, Swami Vivekananda said, I don't want some superficial reforms. I want root and branch reform. So the root and branch means something very thoroughgoing. So slowly we find that this idea of man making finding expression in Swamiji's teachings in this way too. He says we want to develop the right kind of person. So the personality development idea comes. And unless you have the right kind of person, right kind of personality, leadership cannot be really very effective. Now we will come to this, but before that, let me say a few things about the founding of the Ramakrishna Mission. Ramakrishna Mission was founded after Swamiji returned from the West. He had gone around various countries and spoken extensively about Vedanta, the core of Indian culture, and various practices, the way we should understand Vedanta, the way we should understand Indian Darshan Shastra, or the Indian way of looking at life. Swamiji had a very, very authentic way of saying it, because he had lived in both sides of the globe. He had lived in India, he had moved around for years together after his master Sri Ramakrishna's passing away. He had moved around different parts of India. He had travelled on foot mostly, trying to get a very close and very intimate account of what our culture is, what our people are. It was no easy job, because it meant travelling on foot with occasional falling ill, with bad water, with no food sometimes, starvation, sometimes being misunderstood by people, that who is this monk who is moving around, and all sorts of things. But he also came across some very extraordinary, wonderful people. And it is sometimes in 1893, these years are important, because they are very important in terms of the way his life took a change. In 1893, Swamiji went to the West. But before that, in 82, which means around 6 months before he went there, he came to South India. He came to the Kanyakumari rock, now it is called as Vivekananda Rock Memorial, and meditated there for about 3 days. And he meditated on India, Indian problems of those days, and of course of the future. He saw that India is, it looks as if it's a dead civilization, but it is not. Just yesterday we were reading a beautiful quote of Swami Vivekananda. He says that it looks as if our civilization has almost died. But no, it has not. It is rising, and it will rise again. And once it rises, it will astound the whole world. You can refer to the Chandrayaan thing that happened recently. All of us are so very proud of that. So Swamiji has, as if predicted this more than a century back. And we may also mention here that Chandrayaan story does not begin with ISRO only. You go further back into the Indian Institute of Sciences, which is perhaps one of the first or the first science research institute in India, and one of the best in India now. It owes its origin through a conversation with Swami Vivekananda had when he was going to the West. It was on board ship, and there was Jamshedji Tata. Both of them had a conversation about India, Indian problem, and Swamiji had suggested to Tata that please start some institutions, scientific research institutions, and those institutions will bring a new vigor in the country. And Jamshedji Tata, later on, he wrote to Swami Vivekananda recalling that conversation, saying that I am putting so much of money apart, and let us start it. Unfortunately, he passed away before it was started, and Swami Vivekananda had also passed away. And later on, some of the disciples of Swami Vivekananda, some Western disciples and others, they worked hard for starting of that now very reputed institution in Bangalore. So Swamiji had gone around this part of the world. He had seen India, he had seen the huts of the poor or the palaces of the rich, he had lived with the people who are hungry, who are poor, who are suffering. He had seen close quarter all the social problems of those days. And he had therefore a very remarkable catch, a remarkable understanding of what India is. And then he goes to the West. In the West also, first he gets down at Vancouver and goes to Chicago. He's completely surprised looking at the massive exhibition on achievement of America that had been put up at that time to commemorate the 400th year of the discovery of America by Columbus. And Swamiji was impressed deeply by the scientific inventions and progress made in various other fields, industrial field, social field, or technology. It was all showcased in that. And he was much acquainted, much impressed. He was the first Hindu monk to go to the West, so people were very surprised to see somebody in ochre robes, and he had to face a lot of issues with that. Later on, when he spoke at the Parliament of Religions, where he addressed the gathering by saying, brothers and sisters and brothers of America, that roused the whole nation. And there were a lot of people who later on invited Swamiji, and he traveled across USA and spoke and interacted and delivered talks and wrote letters to his disciples in India. And so he had both sides very clear to him. He had the Western side and he had the Indian side. And at the end of it, when he does the founding of the Ramakrishna Mission, he says that the aim of this institution is man-making. What a remarkable statement, man-making. So we are today's subject of youth empowerment and leadership qualities. We see it from this angle, the angle of youth man-making or personality development. So what is youth and why you need to empower them? With all the respect to the elderly people, those who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, to respect, we recognize their experience, but we must also say that they are not as energetic and their time is much lesser than what a young man of 20, 22, 25 has. So 22, 25, that young man, for him, we need to present certain things. We need to be very, very sincere in helping him out in developing the right kind of personality. In fact, you can go still further. You can go to the school level. You can go even the earlier level. See, right from there, the personality development begins. So the youth need to be empowered. Youth need not be saying, "Arey, you are all very small, you are young, you don't understand." We need not put them down like that. We need to rather take them up. We need to see that they are guided on the right path. They are given trust. They are given respect. And where necessary, we can correct them. It could be in a strong way we can correct them, or in a gentle way we can correct them, wherever the need and whatever the need be. But we must learn to love the youth. Swami Vivekananda himself was such a great lover of youth. So that's why he spoke of youth empowerment. He said, "My faith is in the younger generation, the modern generation. Out of them will come those people who will work out my ideals." Now think of it. How Swamiji loved youth. I know it's again further, if you go, his own master used to love his own master Sri Ramakrishna would love youth so much. He would say that youth is like, what kind of period of life it is, youth? He would give a beautiful example. Suppose you are making a brick made of simple mud. So you take mud, you wet it and you put it in a mold. Generally, mold will have the name of the company which is making that brick. So once you put the brick in that, it dries up a little, you then allow it to further dry and then you bake it. Once you bake it, the name of the company becomes totally, unchangeable. It becomes permanently impressed on the brick. But before that, it is not. It is simple mud. In the same way, the youth is like simple mud. The simple mud needs to be impressed upon with the right attitude, with the right ideals, with the right approach to life, right behavior, right self-discipline. All that will help them to, once they grow up and they are baked in the fire of experiences of life, you will find since their basic things are right, they turn out to be very helpful, very useful, in fact great valuable members of the society. But you have to go back to the roots, and the roots are when they are young, they must be given this kind of guidance. So the first thing Swami Vivekananda gave to the youth was that you should have an ideal in life, a goal in life. So sometimes you go to some railway place with a number of lines, there is one track going on the left, one on the right, one on the straight, one in between, one coming from the other side, one taking a turn. So number of tracks are available to you. So first of all, you have to decide which track you want. So youth have one goal, one difficulty before them. First of all is the goal fixing. Which goal should we adopt? Now this is a very actually philosophical question. It is not just that you want to, now you are studying and then you do some, you are just thinking of becoming, let's say, an engineer, or you are thinking of becoming a space scientist, or you are becoming a biotechnology, or you want to do business, or you want to do any way you want to become something, you want to learn something. But if you go deeper, it's not just that which will help. Along with becoming, we must also have being. Being means what kind of human being I want to become. So even if I become, let's say, very famous, very moneyed and well settled, may all youth attain that. But along with that, if you don't have the ideal of, let's say, personality, the right kind of personality or character, all this will not really help us. We might turn out to be successful but very unhappy, successful but also depressed, successful and also perhaps we are into a kind of deep sense of feeling that we are lacking something. So this is one question with many modern youth face, and as a way out of this situation, many of them take to wrong ways. They take to drugs, they take to all kinds of watching things or doing things, or become violent, or take to such philosophies which are not healthy, which are in fact violent philosophies. So they are looking for a goal. So the one thing Swami Vivekananda said is that you should have a goal. The goal is very important, goal fixing. So how do we fix the goal? We must have an ultimate goal and we should have an immediate goal. The ultimate goal, Swami Vivekananda, which he placed before all of us, is to realize our divine being. Now it may sound a little odd to those who are little, not into this line of thinking, but never mind. You try to understand your deepest core. Let's try to understand our deepest core. Who we are, who am I, from where have I come? If you go deeper and deeper, Western philosophy is one approach to life where you see, you try to gather more knowledge. That's Western philosophy. But the Indian way of looking at it is Darshana Shastra. Darshana Shastra is how to enrich our life by knowledge, how to overcome suffering, how to become a knower of that reality, which will solve our problems forever. So first of all, we must have the deep sense within. The deep sense is very important, that we should have something basic to stand upon. So that's the goal fixing. Then second thing Swamiji says that we must also develop some strong virtues. Virtues like calmness, virtues like goodness, self-discipline, and above all, some virtues which are little uncommonly discussed, but it's a very important. Like Swami Vivekananda spoke on developing faith in oneself. It's a great virtue. Faith in one's capacities, a self-esteem, a self-value, and he would say have an infinite sense of self-value. It doesn't mean becoming egoistic. It doesn't mean that you develop greater sense of that I am more important than others, and I can't err, others can err, I cannot err. This kind of negative self-image he is not speaking of. He is saying in spite of all difficulties you can still go forward, have Shraddha. He would say the word Shraddha. Develop Shraddha in yourself. So Shraddha is a remarkable word. It's not just faith. Shraddha also means respect. It also means a sense of bravery. We find Shraddha is being used in our scriptures, in the Sanatana Dharma scriptures, in various contexts. There is a famous Shraddha Suktam also from the Rig Veda. So develop Shraddha. Then Swamiji also spoke about developing strength, physical strength, intellectual strength, above all moral strength, and even something one step ahead of moral strength, which is strength to withstand challenges of life. Now these challenges actually can be of two types. One is the negative challenge. We all know that there is frustration, there is failure, things are not going the way we want them to go. So that is one type. Another is then we become successful, we have a lot of money, we have fame, we do not know what to do with life. In fact, both are challenges, both are situations. We must learn to handle them. And that handling requires strength. And strength comes from purity. Purity of mind. Free the mind from anger, greed, jealousy, and all those negative emotions which are there in our mind. If we don't give up that, then slowly, despite our success, we are likely to be very much affected by negative moods like depression, negative moods like sharp reactions to simple things in life. So Swamiji very much emphasized on this. And then he also very much said that you should have tremendous faith in the destiny of your own country. I don't think anyone has spoken so much about patriotism, love for the country, love for India as much as Swamiji has done. He said that this India is the land of eternal religion. It's a special land. Special land doesn't make that we are to boss over others or we are to become very egoistic. No, it's a land of rishis, the land where great thinkers, sages, pure human beings have lived for thousands of years back. In no other land it was. When Swamiji went to the West in England, somebody asked him, where were the rishis? Why did they not come to England? Swami said, when rishis were there, where was England? Which means England is much younger than the rishis. So it's an ancient land. But ancient land, and we just saying it's an ancient land will not help. We have to accept the modern situations. But we must love the country. Once Swami Vivekananda said, somebody asked him, what I can do for you? He said, love India. Please think over it. Love India. That's how this is love for India, love for the country is very much emphasized by Swami Vivekananda. Along with youth empowerment, Swamiji had this idea of leadership qualities. Now, leadership does not mean becoming a well-known leader in some field. Let's say you become a political leader, you become some minister or chief minister or prime minister. I think they are not as they are posts. So post is not leadership. Leadership is by qualities. What are the qualities of a leader? He emphasized on that. One thing he said is a leader has to be very accommodative. He said a leader has to accommodate 1,000 mind, which means he is very broad-minded. He accepts things. Again, leadership is not just sitting on a seat and ordering. He said, he spoke of, actually he wrote to his disciple Alasinga Perumal. He said, do not try to lead your brethren, rather serve them. Many a ship have been drowned because of this idea that they will lead people. No, don't try to lead in a very egoistic sense, rather serve them. Now this is called in modern management jargon as servant leadership. The leader is basically a servant. He is serving the people, he is serving the cause, he is serving a system, he is serving for the good of others. Then he spoke of, Swami Vivekananda spoke of developing head, heart and hands. Think of it. Head, which means develop your power of thinking, empower yourself, read books. In today's language you might say, go to good websites, see good videos or such presentations which improve, which give you authentic knowledge. So that's the first thing. But that's not everything. Along with that you must have heart. If you don't have heart and you have only head, you become like a computer. So all values, higher values like love, compassion, a sense of giving, sense of unselfishness, all that comes from development of heart. Today we need more compassion, in fact, than even we need more knowledge. Knowledge is good, knowledge is necessary, as I said at the beginning, but then along with knowledge there must be these values, otherwise we will not know what to do with knowledge. It's just like you have the knowledge of how to make, let's say, a gun, but making a gun or producing a gun is not everything. For what purpose is that to be used? So instrumentality and the purpose of the instrumentality is very important. And for that, you see, who is the instrument? Who is the person who is using it? Who is that who is using the gun? What is his character? What is his intention? The same gun, when it is used in the hands of a soldier on the border, or let's say he is guarding an institution, guarding a vital installation, that gun is very helpful. But suppose it is used for killing people, threatening them, asking for a ransom, or going on a spree of killing people, that's not the gun was meant for. So that comes from the heart, compassion. And compassion, very important thing is empathy. You get into other people's shoes. You get to other people's shoes. That's very important. Swamiji says, when he was speaking to youth, he made a remarkable statement. He said that I know where the shoe pinches. First be strong. And for that, he made a statement which sometimes people don't understand. Unfortunately, some people put it out of context. He said, you will be nearer to heaven by playing football than reading Bhagavad Gita. With your muscles strong and nerves of more strength, you can understand the message of the Gita much better. So what he was speaking was not that the playing football is better than Gita, but what he said was that playing football will strengthen your body, strengthen your physical and mental frame. Then you can understand the message of the Gita much better. Message of the Gita is message of the strength. So first you should be strong, then you can understand the message of the Gita. So Bhagavad Gita speaks of that you are the self, you are not just this body. The very second chapter, when Sri Krishna begins, he says, he begins his counsel of the Gita to Arjuna. He begins by saying this: don't forget yourself. You are not just this little body. You are not just this duties which you are performing. You are something even more than that. Who never dies, who is never born, who cannot be killed, who cannot be cut by any weapon. You are the divine. In fact, this message of divinity, this emphasis on our divine core, is one thing, a subject, a theme to which Swamiji returns again and again. You will find that he is speaking about it in his lectures, in his letters, in his conversations. Swami Vivekananda always emphasized on that divine core, because he was himself a man who had realized that. He was not just a philosopher and a person who is sitting on a chair and with a hand on his arm and he says, we are philosophers. No, it's not just an intellectualism. It is actual perception. So he was a great sage. He was one who had experienced, who had realized what he was speaking to. So when again returning to what Swamiji had said of the leadership qualities, he says the leader must be free from jealousy, for instance. He would say that if a leader experiences jealousy or he is very partial, then he can't be a good leader. Today we need a lot of leadership. Not just leaders at the top, but leaders who are supporting the top, who are at the middle level, who are at the, let's say, at the grassroots level. And the grassroots level leaders are very important. Say you are a teacher, you are a leader. You are, let's say, you are in a family. So you are a father or mother, you are a leader. You are helping somebody in the, let's say, there are 4 students who you join together and start study. You become a leader. When you lead, when you take things further, that is a leader. So leader is not about post. It is taking the initiative. And again, it is not about gaining more focus, more self, focus, becoming popular or becoming well-known. Becoming well-known and leader is not really always same. Somebody becomes well-known for various reasons. Today we have a lot of people who are, into the what we call as, advertisement industry. So they can make themselves happy, and today you have Instagram and your personal accounts, Facebook. You get millions of, sometimes millions, sometimes thousands, sometimes less, you get followers. So that's not about leadership, that's popularity. A silent worker somewhere, let's say he's looking after a garden, or managing a nurse is managing a patient, they too can be leaders. Or a mother is looking after the children despite all her difficulties of various types, whether it is financial or social or whatever. She continues to play her role. That's a leadership. So we find that both the youth, empowerment of youth, as well as Swami Vivekananda's idea of leadership, developing leadership qualities. These two, the Ramakrishna Mission have been trying to preach, and they continue to do so in various ways, through various events like conducting seminars or special lectures. We have a couple of institutions on that, like the Hyderabad's famous the Human Excellence Institution, and many more are there. So you should not think that Ramakrishna Mission ends up only by doing relief work, which is very important, of course, running schools, which is important. But more than that, it is this idea of empowering the youth and what we said, man-making. Swamiji said, man-making education, man-making character, which is of a great importance. So with that, I think I should wind up. Thank you very much. My pranams to Revered Swamiji for this opportunity to share my thoughts with the viewers. I wish all of our viewers all the best. Thank you very much. Namaste. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.